All right, how you going, guys? Campbell here from Spiral Up, and I am here with King Dave, David Beater from New Zealand. And today we're going to have a bit of a chat about Dave's journey as a young man and how it may have skewed a bit and ended him up in prison, basically, and what he's learned from that. And I just thought it'd be a good chat just for, we're in crazy times, and for anyone really, but especially young people who might be looking for a bit of advice on what they're doing. I thought this could be really helpful. So thanks for joining us, Dave. Thanks for being here and being willing to talk about your journey.
Yeah, no, sweet as, man. Thanks for having me on, man. I'll quickly mention as well that how me and Campbell here met, as well as I actually do a Tartarian alternative history channel as well. So from prison to running a alternative history channel.
There you go. Yeah.
So yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I'll definitely leave Dave's link below. Go check that out. Check out my interview too. It needs more views, guys. Come on. So Dave, so you're in New Zealand now, but I hear when you were younger, you actually moved to Australia. Is that right?
Yeah, but I moved to Melbourne when I was 14.
Yep. And
Yep.
was that like, what was the change? Because that's obviously 14 is a pretty, crucial kind of time,
Yeah, bro.
puberty and all that
100%.
kind of stuff, a lot of changes. So you've moved country, culture, no doubt, and ended up with us Aussies. So
Yeah.
how do you think that affected you and sort of put you on the path that you ended up on?
Oh, because like, so the thing was, I mean, like upbringing wise, like I didn't we weren't poor, you know what I mean, or anything like that. Like I'm single mother family. My nan was there as well a lot of the time. My dad really wasn't in the picture, and he was a little bit, but I didn't really have any good role models, like positive male role models, you know what I mean, which now I you need a young man needs a father, you know what I mean, like a or someone to look up to, you know
Yeah.
what I mean, a positive male role model. And I didn't have that, so that shaped me a lot. And so by the time I was going to by the time I was 14, before going to Australia, because I moved there because my mum had moved there, because she ended up meeting a man, and then even that was hard for me, at the time, when because it had always been me and my mum growing up. My mum was a hard worker as well. She worked like two jobs when I was younger, which is why, I never went without. Um, but we weren't rich or anything like that. And so yeah, I was sort of, because I didn't have any positive role models or anything like that, it was tough, to
Mm.
sort of stay away from trouble and things like that, and like little bits of mischief and stuff.
Yeah,
But
well, I mean, that's a good point that, if you don't have, and this is, you know, the vast majority of our generation, no doubt, if you don't have a strong role model, and especially one that's there when you need them, with all this job stuff, if they're not at home, it's not much good. And so
yeah, that's
most
right.
young boys sort of
Yeah.
turn to the TV and movies, and then what do you get off that? It's like, all
Well,
they
yeah, I
tell you
was
is
pretty
if you want to
much.
be a man, it's all about being macho and beating people up
Yeah,
and getting
yeah,
the
that's
women
right.
and basically giving in to your, dropping your ethics and giving in to all your desires, and that's not a very
Yeah.
good message.
Nah, like looking back now, I was pretty much raised by the TV, man. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I was, because I would get home from school, no one's home, you know what I mean? So the TV would just be straight on, and I'd be pretty much watching TV all day, you know what I mean? And then like
Mm.
we had Sky as well, you know what I mean? So I was just watching the movie channel and all the action movies and the violent movies, and that pretty much raised me,
Yeah.
So like, but yeah, by the time I was a teenager and by the time I was moving to Oz, like, man, I had no self-confidence. Um, my dad, he was, pretty hard, you know what I mean? Like, when he was around, a lot of yelling and like, just real short temper, so
Yeah.
and calling me an idiot and sometimes useless even, and
Fuck.
like that's just, you shouldn't tell kids stuff like
You
that.
shouldn't tell
You know what I
anyone that,
mean?
especially your own
Like,
child. But oh my god.
yeah. I
But I
mean, me
mean,
and my dad have reconnected now, you know what I mean? But yeah, back then, so
well, glad to hear that. I mean, this is a thing. Even though that's obviously not the way to go, um, blame's also not the way to go. It's like he's obviously that
yeah,
way
nah,
because of the way that he
yeah.
was raised, and so it's
Yeah, well, yeah,
yeah,
that's right. So my dad would grew up in a welfare home. He
well,
didn't know.
yeah,
He was with like over 10 different families as he was growing up.
yeah, right.
So and he did weed and alcohol. So yeah, that's how I look at it now. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Yeah, if you're gonna rehabilitate, as the next con, yeah, the blame game doesn't really work. So yeah,
No, I mean, yeah, I'd for anyone out there, I'd say don't play the blame game.
yeah,
No
yeah,
matter what your parents did,
exactly.
understand that they went through just what you went through. They had parents that they probably didn't agree with, and back in the day, it was probably a lot stricter.
Mm.
Hitting
Yeah,
was a
well,
lot
yeah, a
more
lot worse.
acceptable.
Yeah,
All this kind of stuff. Children should be seen, not heard. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it's all definitely about
Because that
going
even plays
forward.
a part in it as well, you know what I mean, with the whole parenting thing, you know what I mean? Because when I was growing up, even though I had my hardships, to my mum and dad, it's like, well, we had it worse though, like we had it a lot worse. So it's hard for them to sort of sympathize with you, and then that just makes it worse though, so it's like, yeah, it is tough, you know what I mean? It's yeah.
Mm, yeah, well, I mean, and there's so many mixed messages as well from society of what you
Well,
should
yeah, that's what I
be,
was
and
gonna say. Yeah, it's just society as a whole is designed to pretty much break up family units, and what I mean, cause chaos and cause confusion. The
mm,
powers that be, that's what that shouldn't be, that's what they want.
it
But
is.
yeah, so when I moved to Oz, yeah, I was, yeah, yeah, just no self-confidence, lost as wanting to be a man though, you know what I mean, but not
Mm,
knowing how. So thinking, going the sort of street route and the crime route, that will mature me and make me a man, I guess. You know what I mean?
yeah. But I mean,
Yeah.
this is what we're taught to believe: is it's those tough guys and all that are
Mm.
the men. That's what the TV teaches you, and like you said, this is the problem. Because I mean, I'm a bit older than you, but when I was young, mothers didn't have to work. It was pretty much the
Yeah.
time when it was just coming in that some women were starting to get part-time jobs and stuff, things like that. By the time I had kids, pretty much mum had to work if you wanted to. You probably do it in this country, but in the city, you need two incomes, and that's their plan, right? Let the TV, the idiot box, raise the kids. Um, and I suppose as well with a single mother, it's more that you'd be feeling more that you're the man of the house and that you need to sort of become that man. But then you've got the problem of, yeah, how do you do it? So you hit the
Yeah.
streets with the tough guys, I guess. And I suppose at that point in that age, they would seem the most masculine, should we say, sort of energy around, because that's it's a very sort of masculine energy, not necessarily the robbing and the hurting, but just running around and the
Yeah.
cahooting and that.
It's an
Um,
attention thing as well, trying to get attention, I guess, as well. That plays a part. I mean, yeah.
as far as going in and being the guy to
Yeah.
go and do the stuff that you shouldn't do.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
So was that all that group of people? Was that through school, or was that you met them?
Oh
Or
yeah, yeah, nah. So through school and things. I mean, when I was younger, though, like I had neighbors and stuff. Like my neighbors sold weed and smoked weed, and so I used to hang around them kids a lot. And because I was always home alone, I used to hang out with them quite a fair bit as well when I wasn't watching TV. And so yeah, and then when I moved to Australia, to Melbourne, yeah, it was just because I moved to Springvale, and then I went to school there, and then like I had like cousins and things there,
oh, okay.
and that I didn't hadn't met at that point. And yeah, because in the area there was like a lot of like people of like Pacific Island descent and like New Zealand Maori descent. that were sort of hanging around on the streets, like similar, you know what I mean? Like not going home. And, you know, so I linked up with them. And then, yeah, the crime just sort of escalated, you know, and then I started getting kicked out of home as well, you know, so, then you sort of turn to the streets and, you know, the substance abuse, trying to escape it. So some substance abuse was something that I really suffered from for a long time, you know, so, thank God I've kicked it now, you know what I mean, after all of these years. But you know, like I just quit weed recently about 2 months ago. And man, that was just an accomplishment, man. So I mean, now, you know, I used to be an alcoholic, drug abuser, but now I mean, I don't eat meat, don't eat dairy, don't smoke, don't drink, you know what I mean? So the
Well,
vibration's happening, you know what I mean? Like the
yeah, I
awakening's
mean,
definitely happening, man.
it,
It's all fell off my back. And yeah.
this is the other thing. I mean, even though, yeah, it might not be the most pleasant sort of story to, you know, as long as you learn and grow from
Mm,
situations, then
yeah,
it's all
for
good,
sure.
right? Because there's people around there who people will look at and go, oh, they're so successful. Look at their big house and their shiny suit. And when they go home, they're, yeah, drinking themselves to sleep and crying and all this,
Yeah,
and their
no,
life's
that's
falling
right, man.
apart and everything. But, and then they'll probably look at you and go, oh, ex-crim. But you know,
Yeah,
the truth
no, that's
is,
right, man.
you've
That's right.
grown. You went through that, and now you've learned from it, and you've grown. And you. I mean, wow, you've clean
Mm,
as now. So
yeah,
now you've turned
like,
yourself into the kind of person that you were looking for when you were a kid. You know,
yeah,
you're
no,
now
exactly
that
right.
example. So I mean, that's awesome. That's, you know, kudos
Yeah,
to
and
you.
like, because that's the thing that pushes me as well to do this sort of stuff. Because I also run another channel for your viewers. I run another channel where I interview like ex-cons who have turned their lives around and things. And the things that drive me is just because like prison's just for place is just a place for people. Well, first of all, prison is just a money making machine. You know what I mean? Like they get the government, all those private security firms, they get a lot of money to house prisoners, a lot.
Yep.
And they get a
So
lot of contract, yeah, they get a lot of contracts to do work and things where they pay the prisoners not much, you know. So it's a big money making scheme.
mm,
But with in saying that though, like prisons are just places for people that get caught. You know what I mean? Like there's people in government right now that should be in prison. You know
mm,
what I mean? Like for all the things I've done, like I've never poisoned drinking water. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly.
I've never poisoned the air. You know what I mean? I've never put carcinogens into food and given it to people. I've never done any of that. And I don't know anyone that's done any of that either. You know what I mean? So
No, never destroyed any small businesses or anything like that. No.
yeah, I've never done any of that stuff. So
And
yeah.
it's just bizarre, isn't it? The world. It's just the more we get into this, the more you notice the world is just completely reversed.
Yeah,
Like
no, it's just designed. It's the complete
complete.
design to like
Yeah.
the whole prison thing is just a distraction from the people in government so that they have someone to push all of this to
Mm,
distract the public with,
mm.
you know, while they get away with all of the heinous crimes that they get away with, you know?
I know it's just to the point of ridiculousness. But I mean, I don't think they can hide it much more, even if they're still
Mm.
here. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what we're dealing with anymore. You know, it's
Yeah, I
just
neither, bro, neither.
who knows? It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
so So how old were you when you went to when you got busted and they threw you in the clink?
Oh, so the first time I went to prison, I was 19. So I
Right.
went in, I did 9 months then. Um, so I did three sentences all up. So I did 9 months, then I did 2 years, and then I did 4.5 years
Oh,
in Melbourne, but before I got deported back here to New Zealand. And
was
yeah,
that
like
after
while I was
prison? Was it that they deported you?
yeah, so after the 4.5 years that I did, they sent me back here to New Zealand.
Yeah, right.
And I got deported. So, but I mean, during my time in prison as well, like I was like considered a violent prisoner. Um, I started a gang in there as well. Well, not just me, but me and my friends started a prison gang. Um, so we did, you know, I spent a lot of time in solitary confinement. You know, like the longest stretch I did was like 2 years in solitary confinement.
What?
So that's just like,
Is that
yeah.
legal? 2 years.
Oh, it shouldn't be, man.
What the
It
fuck?
shouldn't be. Yeah, no, it shouldn't be,
I
but
thought it
yeah.
was like weeks. A couple of weeks was the limit.
Oh yeah,
Really?
if you get into trouble in there, like a fight or something like that at first, yeah, you'll do about 2 weeks or something like that.
But
But then, as it continues, like yeah, now like I still speak to people in prison and things back in Melbourne, and like I've got mates that have been in there a long time, a long time.
fuck, I didn't know that went on. So
Yeah,
what do
it's
you?
not humane, man. It's not. Yeah,
No,
it does the public no favors by keeping in people for that
well,
long,
it's
because when
it's
they're released, a lot of them go on to do quite violent crimes,
well,
you know what I mean? So it
this
doesn't
is the
serve the
thing.
public places like that.
How is that helping? I mean, if you lock up the wrong people, you're just giving them time to get annoyed and work out how they're going to get back at society. I mean,
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
ridiculous.
yeah, it's so unfortunate, like, yeah, for all involved, you know what I mean? Like, I've got a
Mm.
lot of mates now, you know what I mean? Like a few that have just, they're either still doing the same stuff or they've just lost their minds, you know what I mean, from prison, you know what I mean? Like they're
Well,
just
and that's what they're trying to do to the whole world now, isn't it? Keep
yeah,
everyone in
bro, yeah.
isolation. You
Yeah,
know,
nah, that's right, man. Yeah, exactly.
I just
Like I've looked
2 years.
into it a lot since I've been out, you know what I mean? Like the effects of long-term solitary confinement on the human mind, you know
Mm,
what I mean? And it's just yeah, it's no good, eh? It's no
no.
good. Like for me, man, the only reason I'm here is because of a higher power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm right into my spiritual stuff, and that's the only reason I can sort of function now. But even when I done the 4.5 years and got out, um, it's just I wasn't free. You know what I
And
mean? It took me a long time to free my mind after my body was freed, you know?
yeah, and like what happens when they release you? Is it literally just here's the door and they kick you out, see you later? Or is there any support structure or to integrate you back in, or do they just kick you?
Oh, well, I mean, like after I served 2 years and then I got out in Melbourne, like even then I had spent like a year in solitary confinement and then I got let out and it was just like
You're just on your
like
own.
I just kept doing the same stuff. Yeah, I just kept doing the same crimes and things like that. But to be honest, not that I wanted to be rehabilitated at that point,
Mm,
so
yeah.
but
But I mean,
uh,
obviously, if you wanted help or needed it, it wasn't there.
nah, nah,
So
not nah.
this whole prison thing, that this story they've got us believing that it's about making society safer, is complete crap, because
Oh
what
yeah,
they're doing
yeah.
is taking people that have got issues anyway, making those issues worse, and then putting them back into society with no support.
Yeah,
Like, that's
there's no
literally what they're doing.
rehabilitation. There's no you can ask anyone. There's no rehabilitation in prison, and rehabilitated like ex-cons will tell you that there's no
That
rehabilitation there.
they
Like
will
so
have to
for the
do it
people that do
themselves.
rehabilitate, for the people that do rehabilitate, it's pretty much a miracle, man. You know what I mean? Like, and they've just done it themselves. You know.
So, do you know any other? Like, you in contact with any other? Um, don't want to say like anything rude, but ex-cons, like people who've been to jail. Like, have
Oh
you?
yeah, no, quite a few. Yeah, quite a few. So on my podcast, my one that I do, I interview quite a few boys that
Mm,
I've done time with. But yeah, like I'm still in conversation. Like I still write letters and things to my mates back in Melbourne,
awesome.
that are back in prison and things.
So, is that
Um
part of the drive to put some support out there? Because clearly there's
oh
none.
yeah, man. No, well, what I'm doing like now is just yeah, man, just trying to just trying to show like my boys and stuff, you know what I mean, from before that this is possible, you know what I
Well,
mean, like we can do it,
well,
so
you've done it. That's the best way to show people it's possible, man. That's awesome.
yeah,
That's just,
uh,
and that's yeah, that's a massive step. Like you said, there's not
oh
many
because a
people
lot
who
of
get
it,
out of that.
yeah, a lot of it is regret too, you know what I mean, so like
Mm.
because the gang we formed in prison in Melbourne like is still around now, like it's quite well known in Melbourne now as well, which when we started it we didn't expect, but it became like quite a force in prison, and then it was like So now I've got like friends that yeah, it's unfortunate, man, because I got mates that have like done things in prison like for the gang and things like that, you know what I mean, and they've got an extra time for it.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
just things like that. It's just
yeah, I know.
looking back on that, it's just like there is some regret, you know what I mean, of
But
like of that. But yeah.
I mean, I think as long as that's channeled properly, that's not
Mm,
really a problem.
yeah.
It's like the past is a teacher, not a prophet. It's just something to learn from. So
Yeah.
if you're using that regret as motivation to get better, then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
good.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't call it regret, but that's just like the
Yeah,
word that
yeah,
comes.
but that
But
you
yeah,
use, yeah. But when people
yeah.
sit there and go, "Oh my God," and hit the
Yeah,
floor
nah,
and
it's
everything,
not like that.
you
Yeah,
can't
no,
do
it's
that.
not like
No,
that. Yeah,
that's
no,
not going to help
no.
anyone.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, right. Wow. So that's I'm just blown away that they lock people up for years and then they kick you out with no support. That's just and clearly no one knows this apart from the people who are have been
No.
through the system or those who know them.
Yeah,
Um,
like not many people actually even know what prison is like, you know what I mean? Like for me, so people are like, so what do people do in prison? Do they just sort of sit around? And it's like, nah, man, like the system is corrupt as fuck. You know what I mean? Like there's drugs in there, people get phones in there, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of business that happens in prison, you know what I mean? Like especially in Oz, you know what I mean? Like a lot of people make tens of thousands of dollars in prison, you know what I mean? Like because of how corrupt it is, and it's just yeah, it's
and that
just
all comes through the
uh,
prison guards, I guess,
yeah,
like
yeah,
all the
things like
contraband and
that.
stuff.
Yeah, like the officers and that know what goes on in prison, like the intel units and things like that. Like they all know what goes on, but it's just like I know heaps of officers that have got done for corruption and things like that. And then what happens? They just get moved to another prison. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking like general managers, get caught doing things and they just get moved to another prison, like priests and stuff, with all of their shit. They just get moved on to somewhere else so they can keep doing the same shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know who's in charge. If we didn't know a few years ago, we know now that
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
the
No, because
plan,
it's
right?
just sad. It's just sad because people think we need prisons. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like people think, oh, look back in history, there's always been prisons and always Australia was built by convicts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they think
All
that
those
we need
star-shaped
prisons.
prisons and forts everywhere,
You know what I mean? Like, but
Yeah,
then you
well,
can't even say that to people because then that's just like it's all good for me and you to talk about it because we know, you know what I mean,
mm,
about just how corrupted every single thing that they teach us is. You
mm,
know what I mean? All of it is just rubbish.
it's. I mean, this is the thing. You could. It's not that hard to fix that. I mean, if a
Yeah,
young
no,
boy's
yeah,
going off the rails, you send him out to work on a farm for a few years with some good, solid role models, and
yeah,
you've got a productive member of society. It's so clearly they
yeah,
don't want to fix the problem. They like their chaos. So they, and God knows what else they're getting out of the prison
yeah, because they've
systems.
just brainwashed us as well to think that we are inclined to do evil things, you know what I
Mm,
mean, but we aren't though. It's just all of the shit that they lost, the media, the TV, the music, fuck, you know what I mean. Like
mm,
now I don't listen to music anymore, like, or because now I wouldn't call myself a Christian or religious or anything like that, but I do read the Bible every day. I see the power in the words, you know what I mean, and see how it's been completely corrupted by religion. You know what I mean, they've just completely flipped it around.
mm,
But I do listen to hymns and things like that and gospels now. Like I don't listen to rap music, I don't listen to gangster rap anymore.
yeah,
Like because it's just all designed to just push us the other way.
it
You know what I mean?
is.
Because like even growing up now, it doesn't matter whether you're rich or poor, you know what I mean? Like just well, because it comes to time as well, you know what I mean? Like that's something I've noticed with like seeing other people. Like it doesn't matter how much money the parents are making, if they're not spending time with their kids,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
they're
yeah,
gonna lose them. They're
yeah.
gonna lose them for sure.
We see it all the time with all these people that have got money and big houses, but they spend all their time at work, and their kids just go off the rails,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, look at Hunter
Yeah.
Biden, God.
Yeah, bro. I even here in Auckland, man, you know what I mean? Like I've like gone to like rich areas and things like that. And when you go there, man, some of the areas you see parks and stuff, and you see all of these teenagers hanging out, doing the same shit they are in bad neighborhoods, but just the police don't come around there. You know what I mean? That's the only difference, that the police don't go around there. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, money has nothing to do with it.
Oh
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
nah.
Like,
Yeah.
it's all
Economic
about time, man.
situation, nah. It's just
Yeah,
that's just what they want us to believe, you know, that
yeah,
one, that the criminals aren't them, it's us, which is complete crap. But two, that
yeah,
it's got something to do with, socio-economic, you know, everyone who lives in that area and doesn't make this much money is bad. And that's why they're
yeah.
there, you know. I mean, that's where you find the
Well,
best
because a lot
people,
of the
really.
time as well, because if the police do make arrests in those sort of areas, they'll end up getting turned on. You know what I mean? Because you know, their parents will complain. You know what I mean? Their parents might be
Yeah.
high powered or
And
stuff,
they
and
and
they'll
yeah.
complain. You know?
And there's a good chance that daddy's a lawyer or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I've
right.
seen it. You know, so it's like, yeah,
So they're just basically scared pieces of whatever you want to call
yeah,
them. You know, seriously, they go and pick on kids whose parents
yeah,
can't defend them.
yeah,
I
man.
mean, this is disgraceful. I mean, but
Yeah,
we all knew this for quite a while now. Hopefully the rest of the
yeah.
world's waking up to what's going on. I mean, you know, if
No,
you
because
think
you
this
know
is
how it
the
is. Yeah.
apocalypse, then holy dooly.
Like the world's just so twisted that, you know, the controllers made it this way.
Mm,
You know what I mean? That it can't be fixed. You
mm.
know what I mean? That, you know, really youth workers and things like that, they can't fix the problem. Doesn't matter how good they are. We got to go to the root. You know what I mean? But you can't really, because it's just like, yeah, they're just, everything's reversed. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like even when you're trying to even when most people think they're doing good in this world, like fighting for global warming and things like that,
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
even realize that they're just being used to do evil. You know what I mean? So
Mm.
they're very smart, man. They obviously planned this out, and yeah,
Yeah, unfortunately, they they know a lot about our psychology.
everything. Yeah,
You know, so
everything.
it's all getting people to attach to certain things and self-belief and all this, and then you end up with all these people with green and blue hair running around
Oh
yelling at people and they
man.
don't even know what they're yelling about.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like the people don't even know whether they're a man or a woman anymore, man. It's
No,
crazy.
like literally they don't know.
It's
That's how confused
insane.
it is. Isn't that
Yeah.
bizarre? Imagine trying to
Yep.
explain that to someone a few hundred years ago. Oh, in a
Yeah,
few
bro.
hundred years, men won't be sure if they're a woman or not. What?
Yeah, I know. You're not even allowed to say it, you know?
It's like another article I saw was there was a school and the school board had passed a rule saying it was fine for all these transgenders or identify as a girl or whatever they are to
Uh,
use the other bathroom. So basically that they've said teenage boys can now go into the teenage girls' bathroom and use it. Where do they think
oh,
that's going to lead?
man.
Like,
Oh, right. I
and,
know,
and,
but
and it
because
was
the
the
whole thing
student.
with,
It was a student that had to come out and speak up again about it. Why weren't all the parents storming the school and dragging that principal out by his ears and kicking the crap out of him? Because this is what needs to
yeah.
happen. These
I
guys
mean,
are devils.
here in here in New Zealand, they just did a news article saying that uh, uh, a man that's competing as a woman in the upcoming Olympics should receive 2 gold medals if she wins. That's what it said,
Oh,
and that's what they said in the news article, and it was just
one
like,
for each
but because to be honest, I
personality.
really yeah, like I feel
See, we
for
used
them,
to call
bro.
this
Like,
schizophrenia, and
yeah,
now it's normal.
like 2 people that are of that inclination of being, you know, transgender and things. I actually just feel really sorry for them because they're just so,
The
well, because
actual,
it's the celebrities, you
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
actual
seeing
people who
them
are
do it.
having
It's
actual
see,
cognitive
because even just
problems.
the
Yeah.
whole, yeah, even the whole psychology thing, it's just like
Mm,
they're telling people, hey, God got it wrong. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like the creator got it wrong. You know what I mean? Like it's all right to think that. And then I'll tell you now that a lot of people that are in relationships with people that identify as transgender, they have anger issues. You know what I mean? Like they have explosive anger issues at points. You know what I mean? Like I've seen it a lot because I know people that are in relationships with them, but then they blame the testosterone. You know what I mean? Like, but it's normal because it's the testosterone, and it's the transition. You know what I mean? That's why they have these explosive anger and bouts, mood swings and things. And it's just like, none of that is normal.
Nothing
You
to
know
do
what I
with
mean?
pumping a
Like,
female body full of testosterone.
yeah,
My
yeah.
God.
Like, of course they're gonna have explosive anger and things like that. Like, you
Exactly.
know?
You go up to a lady and say, "Hey, you've got to now dress in a suit and look like a man," and you'll get an explosive reaction as well.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, all right.
You just got to laugh, don't you?
Yeah, you got no choice, man. You
It's
know but to laugh.
just bizarro world.
Yeah.
Ah, all right. So, yeah, to finish up, so you got through jail and you've had all this stuff. So, what's your? I mean, we've sort of touched on it a bit, but yeah, what's your sort of plans for? Are you looking at sort of trying to help people that have been through the same kind of experience? Is that kind of part of your plan for the future?
Oh yeah, man. Like so at the moment, because when I actually started my so yeah, so my alternative history was my alternative history channel. So that's pretty much what changed my life as well. So when COVID happened, because I never believed in anything before that, like to do with conspiracies and things like that. Like I had a lot of mates that used to talk about the Illuminati and things like that, but I didn't believe in any of those things. But then when COVID happened, obviously I was like, okay. So then that really, like, I had a lot of spiritual experiences during that first lockdown in COVID here in New Zealand. Like I really was bombarded. You know what I mean? Like, well, it got me to the point now where I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't eat meat, I don't do anything like that. So I was really bombarded with spiritual experiences at that time. And so yeah, like at the moment now it's just like yeah, just spreading the message of truth, obviously, and because that's what drives me. So even though I do other things, so I do like a lot of volunteer work, you know what I mean, with the elderly and children as well, going to primary schools and things and helping out my mates that run programs and doing all of that. But to be honest, what drives me is getting the truth out there. You know what I mean? Because even with my channel, it's like my alternative history channel, to get over 1,000 subscribers took me forever, man. It took me months. But when I started my other channel interviewing ex-cons and that, it just went up like that. You know what I mean? Because of the
Yeah,
YouTube
right.
algorithms. You know what I mean? Like the YouTube algorithms are two completely different things for each of my channels. You know what I mean? Way different. You know. So but that's what drives me, because I want to spread the truth. You know what I mean? I
Mm.
want to teach these kids real stuff, real history of what's really going on. You know what I mean? And even teaching older people about that sort of stuff, alternative history, and yeah, that really drives me a lot, man. Is just trying to get the truth out there. But yeah, so yeah, I do work with like primary schools and things.
Yeah, right.
Just speaking at schools and things like that.
Awesome.
But yeah, I mean, where it's going, I'm not sure. Like my podcast, so my podcast is called The Fallon Show.
Yep.
So I have the Fallon Show with King Dave, which is my alternative history, and then I have the Fallon Show podcast. So even
Okay.
though even those I put to like the name similar, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like I just made them similar. So it's sort of like
Nice and easy.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
And so if people make a mistake and find the wrong one, they'll be like, oh, what's this? You know what I mean? It's in my alternative history.
It's a scam.
But so yeah, with my other podcast, that is like taking off a little bit now. So it's been good. So
Awesome.
being able to interview ex-gang members and really shine some light on, like we're doing, just shining light on how corrupt the prison system is, that's a big drive for me as well. You know what I mean? Sort of exposing the money side of it. You know what I mean? The money making side of it, even with the whole deportation thing. I mean, the deportation thing is really big in like pretty much all the people I was in prison with in Melbourne are back here now. They're all getting deported. But I'm showing people the money side of it, you know. So a lot of people are getting paid behind the scenes, you know, a lot of corrupt organizations, Serco, GEO, G4S, and all these security firms that are making billions of dollars across the world from corrections facilities and things like that. And yeah, so that's sort of where I'm going. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I'll definitely leave the links below. And yeah, if you've got anyone, guys, or even young boys or anyone who's sort of going through this, definitely get them on to have a listen to some people who've been through it and sort of know what goes on. 'Cause
Yeah,
it's not a
definitely.
glamorous thing. It's not something you want to, you know, it's not like they portray it in the movies.
No, like on my podcast and things, like I got upcoming episodes with, you know, a lot of former bikie presidents who I've done time with, so who I knew in that life, but who have all changed their lives around. And they speak on, you know, what it's like to really be a bikie president, to really be in that spot and what it's actually like, you know what I mean? And there's no picnic.
Oh,
You know,
I can imagine.
yeah, so a lot of them regret, you know, that path. Oh, well, not regret, you know,
But
for
want
lack
to
of a
change
better
their
word.
ways. Is that a
Yeah.
newish kind of phenomena, do you find? Is it that
Yeah,
people are
nah,
starting to
man.
change
I'm
rather than
telling you
being
now. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like with this whole awakening thing, like yeah, a lot of people are waking up, man, to a whole range of things. Not awake like we are, but
yeah.
a lot of people are
Not
just
the
getting
same.
awake. That, you know, a lot of crims, a lot of gangs and things like that are just pawns, really, for the government. You know what I mean? They're pawns for the government as distractions. You know what I mean? And to take the heat off them, pretty much. You know what I mean? Yeah.
The old magic
So
trick, eh?
yeah,
Looking
nah,
for a
but
healer.
yeah, nah, heaps of people are changing now. A lot of boys are getting out of prison and turning that all around. It's
Awesome.
becoming a thing now, you know. So because before it was like if you sort of changed your life around, that was like frowned upon.
Yeah.
But because
Especially,
like people like me and like a lot of mates and things are sort of leading the way, like yeah, a lot of people are doing it now, you know. So it's really good to see.
that's awesome. It's definitely things are changing. I mean, and they're
Yeah.
really the people that confuse young boys, or boys that are looking for leadership or whatever. That they're really the
No,
people they need to listen to, the ones who have been through it, but the ones that are also man enough to make a decision to change, because
yeah, no.
that's really the strengths. I mean, so many, like we said before, you see these suit wearing guys with their big houses, but they're pathetic. They have no
Yeah,
ethics. They will just
no
be
ethics,
pushed by
no
anyone.
morals.
They'll sell anyone out, and they're just of no use
Oh well,
to
yeah,
this
the
to
whole
this world.
business world is cutthroat, eh? The
That's
whole business
disgraceful.
world and thing is they've got
That's
absolutely no
and
morals.
that's not masculine, and it's not feminine either. That's just archon. That's what that is.
Yeah,
So
nah,
yeah, we need people to
exactly.
show the way. We need to get out of this. Like the gurus we used to have. And they've all gone too, pretty much. Just do
Yeah,
this. Give me 10 grand, and I'll show you how to do this. Yeah. No, we need people who've actually done stuff and who can
yeah,
speak from experience and can give you a road and some markers to follow to either avoid what they've been through or to get out and to change things. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, you're
Like
doing
just
such
to
good
finish,
work, mate. That's just awesome.
yeah, like just to finish, like yeah, man, like the way society is set up at the moment, they want the critical thinkers in prison. You know what I mean? Like when I look at all my mates and me myself, how I was in prison, a lot of us are critical thinkers. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't like to listen. You know what I mean? We don't like to be told what to do. If people say questionable things to us, we question those things. You know what I mean? And they want those sort of people in prison. You know what I mean? They want
Point.
those sort of people to be frowned upon. You know, so
I mean,
yeah,
I was just lucky. I went to 7 schools because Dad was in mining. We just moved with his job a lot.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
kind of avoided getting stuck into, gangs or whatever. But every
yeah,
school I went to, teachers, I don't
yeah,
know, they just didn't like me. I
yeah,
was always the one
exactly.
And I always had
Yeah.
good marks and everything and all this kind of stuff. And you know, everyone
Yeah,
liked
no.
me, but I was the one that was picked on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
Now you can understand what's going on. They're like,
Yeah,
oh,
bro.
they've picked you out. Okay, destroy that person,
Yeah.
destroy that child.
Yeah, bro.
He may
Yeah,
have
that's right.
ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, brother.
uh, awesome. Well, that was really insightful, really good. And
Yeah,
again,
nah, I enjoyed that, brother.
yeah,
Enjoyed that. That was
just
good.
kudos on what you're doing and what you've done with your life and you know, being the example. You know, it's like we always say, right? Be the change you want to see, and
Yeah,
you're
brother.
definitely doing that. So yeah, thank you for spending some time with us. I will definitely leave the links to Dave's channel below. Go check them out. Like I said, podcast and a history channel. And yeah, maybe we'll get you back on at some point in the future and see how the craziness in New Zealand is going forward.
Yeah, bro, we might even be due for another alternative history chat on my channel.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Hit me up, let me know, and I'll be there.
Sweet. Yeah, sweet as.
Bloody oath. All right, mate. Well, stay safe and sane in Clown World over there. I
Yeah,
hope
nah, I will, bro.
the Archons stay away from you, and yeah.
Yeah, yeah, brother. Yeah, I'm praying for you too, my bro. You're always in my prayers too, man. To you know, spread the knowledge and spread the insight, brother. So yeah, much love.
Definitely. Cheers, mate. Same back at you. All right. Thanks for your time, mate. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, you too, man. Have a good day. Stay safe over there in Perth, brother.
Will do. Cheers, Dave. Talk soon, mate.
Peace, bro.
See ya.